Leave it right there, Mike. Where are we?
That was a doorway in escalation. December 14th was a spiritual thing, and that's a sharp escalation since December 14th. That's when Putin made his declaration to the USA, a private call to Biden and his administration, speaking about that he was going to test a nuclear weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And some other things came out. Well, that they thought it was a bunch of hype, but it's not.
It's dangerous.
Here's the problem.
Okay.
Here's the problem, Pastor Paul. Russia, Putin, right? He said he's going to prove the USA for what it is, right?
Okay.
And he doesn't mind. He said it would be a good test. And this is from his mouth in public. He said this. He said it would be a good test to see if the USA can knock down his, nuclear weapons. That'd be a good test for the USA and Russia. Okay, that's KGB jargon is what that is. Bravada. But it's more than bravada because he activated an entire battery.
Wow. Purpose of it, you think?
Those are, normally they do that in declaration of Holy Day. Or you could say a holy time.
Yeah, there's this is the 50th year, I think they said.
Yeah, because it's like the year of Jubilee. So they open that up for declaration, which means that the Pope is about to start talking because the Middle East is about to fall totally apart. Turkey has finally sided with several groups that Israel is now engaging with. Because I still firmly believe World War III has already begun. If it continues to grow, Saudi Arabia is going to be seized. It's just simply not going to be Saudi Arabia, right?
Yeah.
It just won't be. It'll be some horrific things. And we still have, more military forces making their way to the Middle East from all nations. Do you know all nations are in the Middle East right now? All their armies? And that's a scary thing.
That's biblical.
Because that's never happened before.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's pretty biblical, isn't it?
And so
it started the clock. The clock started ticking in an escalation that's not going to go backwards.
Right. Kind of like the scientists who came out and said, we were dead wrong about the sun, and we need to caution. We need to send out some national caution to everybody about the sun, because it's already starting to shift the tectonic plates of the earth. It's starting to weaken systems. Is causing changes in the earth big time. We're going to have, in fact, everybody in the U.S., if you value your stuff, because there's no guarantee based on where you live, you might want to make sure an earthquake won't just crumble knock your stuff off the walls and break your, cabinets and things, because areas that never had an earthquake could see, 5 or 6.0 earthquake.
Wow. Well,
in the USA.
New Madrid had a little bit of shaking there a few days ago, and that hasn't happened in 200 years. But you're saying this could be like in the Northeast, or this could be
anywhere.
Yeah,
it's too volatile right now, right?
Okay.
Because they absolutely believe. But here's the problem: when they went out there, what they're not telling people is this, and this is part of the divide. Well, somebody needs to tell people: when those astronauts came back, they had something attached to them.
Meaning a spirit?
Yes. The same thing that happens here on Earth. They had something attached to them.
Okay.
Right? And when they came back, they just weren't the same. When they came back and they began to do what they did with everybody else, this started this era of people people have a hunger for this spiritual realm.
Yeah.
They even know they're fallen angels. Yeah. They even know they're demons. Right? They don't think they're,
they know what they are.
Gods. They know what that stuff is. That's why they went around. Pastor Paul, the government pays archaeologists. It pays them to do everything by grants. So anything they find is going to go to them first. They have the whole story. We don't have the whole story. We have the Bible. They have the whole story. So they believe in the dark side of things because they have absolute experience with it. Right? Yeah. They have spooky programs. That's why they have these X programs or black programs that nobody can get into. It is not what Hollywood shows. It is not some fantasy thing. It's a nightmare, and people are scared to death. People's there.
It's
The
true.
next step is to get people to live with them, to learn
That's bad.
to
That's
co-occupy
bad.
with
That's
them.
bad.
So all the media on television and everything else is going to shift towards living your life with these things.
Yeah,
Everybody looks for something to happen on every single specific date given. There was a pastor who gave them a time period. He said, listen, we're entering into a time, and this is but the Lord showed him some things, and he shared with people. But you had a bunch of people out there saying, well, nothing happened on that date.
yeah.
A month
I know,
later,
I know.
boom,
Boom.
9/11,
Yeah.
right? Because people will not hear. They hear what they want to hear. They won't hear the whole thing.
Right.
Somebody asked me one time, they said, Mike, you gave a date on the stone steps. No, there was no date.
There was
on
no
the
date
stone
on
steps.
those. I remember that.
That was a season. And by the way, when the Lord gave me the stone steps, did they not prosecute Trump the entire time?
Yeah, they did.
After the fact. So,
and then they shot him.
They don't pay attention to that.
That
doesn't matter.
They kept bringing him down into the courthouses.
Right. They did, which is never. Who's that happened to?
Nobody, and never. And then they shot him, and they have to take him by the hand. They got to take him down the steps into the black SUV, just like you see.
That's right.
With the binary system, there's been unbelievable. I mean, we had the cyclone that just wiped these people out over there in that French territory of Mayotte. We've had powerful earthquakes that just hit Vanuatu that were shallow this time.
Solar.
I mean, solar. So and we've had
coming from.
We had a tornado in San Francisco. Is this all because of the sun?
It is the sun.
Talk about that.
Pastor Paul, they made a mistake. The scientists made a mistake. They thought that solar maximum would be 2025.
Mm-hmm.
You can only identify solar maximum after the sun, right, is in a uniform a trend line going down, right?
Okay.
So they identified solar maximum in 2024, a little bit ago, right? Yep. Now it began. They were all messed up with the timing because they cannot believe it would ever last this long. We're not talking about a maximum that was, like a traditional solar max. So here's what we're facing, because this one is going to have triple tips on it, which means
what?
The trend line will go up, the activity goes up, and then it decreases, and it goes up and decreases all the way down to solar minimum.
Okay.
This time is different.
Okay.
This time is different. We're going to have a triple peak. The solar activity that's about to come off the sun has built up to a value much greater than they ever suspected. Most notably, continental shift is taking place. Deep breaks in the ocean are taking place. The deformation of the ocean floor is actually, this is noticeable by just the average individual now who does, hobby diving or something like that. But we have too many land masses that are starting to deform at the exact same time, right?
Okay.
But this is not, and this is not only happening to Earth, this is being observed on other planets. Irregular activity. We know that the chemistry of the sun is altered. We know it's altered. And so the sun is burning through excessively some materials. That's going to make this time very different. We're going to expect more solar flares. Now, you remember the Carrington event, right?
Yes.
I'll tell you right now that there are some scientists expecting that to happen. These are not the ones who write in the paper. They expect something on the order. They said the Carrington event was a minimal effect. It just happens to be one of the largest they'd seen back then. They know all the chemicals that are in there. Right?
Yeah, they do.
Even I've talked to specific pilots. I've seen the gear on the aircraft.
Yeah.
It's not a joke. It's not make-believe.
No, I've seen.
But they do this strategically. The pilot cannot release this stuff either. That's remotely done, but it has aluminum in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Now,
so
most of the health problems that happen right now are due to aluminum. Aluminum has very specific effects on the human body. They help to minimize that, through medications and doing things with foods, this, that, and the other. But if they don't do it, they know that temperatures will shoot up 20, 30 degrees, whatever they were talking about. We're going to be messed up. So let's just say that the heavens are becoming quite spooky. It's actually starting to scare people. People who know about it, they're becoming scared of it. Too many things are up in the skies. And now, because of this drone issue,
Yep.
everybody is going to start looking in the skies.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to start, they're going to panic, but it's going to increase interest in this UAP topic and entity
You're right.
topic.
You're right. It's
And
going to
it's going to go fast. I mean, people are going to be indoctrinated so quick, so fast.